Welcome, Defined Family, to today's episode. I'm your boy Ray D Zulu. I hope on today's episode you're going to learn and be transformed by this special guest that we have today. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
We are glad to have you.
The pleasure is all mine.
All right, so before we get into the conversation, I would like it if you can introduce yourself.
It's Nathan, that's the name. And Nathan is a passionate young man.
Okay.
Humble, with humor, and a lover of nature. I won't go in details, but when the time comes, I'll be able to introduce me properly, professionally. But it is just Nathan for now. Thank you.
Properly, professionally.
Yes.
So I think you've convicted me to rush to that properly professional introduction.
Yes.
Can you give us that?
Professionally, I'm a certified and licensed agricultural scientist, agroforester, and an agronomy at the same time. Certified and licensed by the AIZ, which is the Agricultural Institute of Zambia.
AIZ, certified. Yes. So I'm dealing with certified people here.
Exactly.
So when you talk about, I think there are terms that you've given me that are difficult to pronounce. Is it agronomy?
Yeah? Agronomist, yeah.
Agronomist. Yes. Who is an agronomist?
Is a person that, when you take me, for instance, if you take me to your farm or your field, just looking at your crop, I'll be able to tell you what your crop has, what it is lacking, or the state at which your crop is. And I'll be able to tell you or estimate how much you are able to harvest, because it will talk about nutrition, management, and everything.
Oh, that's good. So in short, you are involved in agriculture.
Exactly.
So what led you to get into maybe agriculture? Are you passionate about it? And I think, in short, what influenced you to go in that sector?
So that's a long story, but I will cut it short. Yes, but I think it is interconnected to my upbringing, because our parents used to own a piece of land where we used to farm, but like way back it wasn't that deep, you understand. That was just a source of our livelihood. So when I got older and when I got into agriculture, now I understood to say that was the foundation that was being laid, because way back we had other plans, other dreams to say, okay, I want to be a doctor, but the path that God was taking me didn't have anything to do with medicine or becoming a doctor. So it was all leading to this agricultural thing. So
that brings me to a question from what you've said. Mostly when we are growing up, we're exposed to certain careers that sometimes our parents are telling us, become a doctor, become an accountant, or these white collar jobs. So you find that even right now in Zambia, we don't have a variety of specialization, because in most cases people are just attracted to certain professions because they are taught to do them, or those are the only professions that they feel society will add or will define with a certain level of value. In trying to help young people out there who are trying to decide what they can do, people that do not look at agriculture as a source of employment or a sector where they can specialize in, what encouragement or words can you give to a young person who's trying to figure out what they can do? What they can do if they are at a point where they do not understand where God is taking them. I don't know if that makes sense.
So we are brought up in in an environment where we feel white collar jobs and certain professions do better than the other profession. But if you go into details, you'll find that these professions, they rely on each other. I can tell you, Ray, that there is a lot of opportunities, not just for employment, but for young people to be employers of themselves.
Through agriculture.
Through agriculture. Because we have this mentality of saying agriculture is for old people, it's for poor people. But if you do a survey, these people, these big men, like, in fact, our politicians,
even our president,
like, it's not from the presidents where he gets his wealth. It's from the ground. He's a farmer. He understands. Even these ministers, these politicians, they understand. All of them, if you check their backgrounds, at least they own a farm. You understand? So they know, because you can't go wrong. Of course, many of us, we go in with that hype to say, I'll make money. Like I said, you need to be passionate. You need to be patient with agriculture, with farming. Because right now, like, mostly in Zambia, we are dependent on the rain, and that really deprives us. So we need to diversify and look for other sources.
And you know, agriculture is so broad in that, like, from what you've said, you are encouraging young people to be involved in it, but in most cases, you know, the starting point would be very difficult. Because from at a distance, I would judge that getting into agriculture, I need to own a big farm. And when someone thinks about owning land, you find that that becomes a limitation for them to be engaged in agriculture, whether through being involved in it as a profession or being involved in it as a business. So in most cases, looking at that as a limiting factor, where lack of access to land when you go and buy a farm becomes a limiting factor for young people to engage in agriculture. I think, how best can you help us to look at the opportunities that are in agriculture, looking beyond, you know, the limitation of land? Because sometimes I'm looking at gardening, a backyard garden. Sometimes we have swamps within our communities, but sometimes as young people we don't want to utilize those opportunities. So how can you help us?
Looking at that, you don't need to own a very big land. Okay, so what would determine your output is your input. Okay, like you are saying, limited access to land. We have swamps and we have backyard gardens. Okay, I'll give you an example. Maybe cabbage. Okay, cabbage, you don't need a very big land.
Okay.
If you intensify, then you need big land, but you need to start from somewhere. And of course, you need inputs like fertilizer and other supplements. But I'll tell you, if you own that piece of land or a small backyard garden, the soil, like I said, God has blessed us. I'll mention organic matter. Organic matter, like, really works wonders. It's magic. Okay, of course, you look for pesticides and stuff. Those are some things that you can easily access, and they are not that expensive. But organic matter will boost up your crop, and you'll be able to get something. That's a starting point. And that's where, when we go to source for maybe capital to start, some people are looking for something. Like, where are you right now? You're accessing a loan to start your farming. Do you have an idea? If you have an idea, you say, I'm already doing this, but I just need something to boost up what I'm doing. I think from there, we can pick it up from there.
You've talked about having an idea. So I'm thinking, in most cases, some people may be limited to get into farming because they don't have an idea of how it's done. How best can you encourage young people and many farmers out there to have ideas before engaging into farming, or already maybe they're engaged into farming, but they do not have so much information that would make them efficient and make maximum profits from the farming that they're doing.
This information is very vast. Technology now has advanced, but you cannot just rely on the information you get online.
Yep.
You need practical experience. I can assure you, when you want to get into farming, it's risky. Very risky. You need to be careful, and you need to be sure of what you're doing. You can't just wake up to say I want to venture into farming, and that's where we get it wrong. Of course, people will come and entice us how easy farming is, but I'll tell you, it will take courage, it will take passion, it will take perseverance for you to just deal. So you find that those people who own farms, they have specialists that do the work for them because they understand what it takes.
Okay.
So the information is there.
Okay.
They can reach out, and we can help each other. The information is there. It's just,
are there any institutions, maybe away from school, maybe through the Ministry of Agriculture, and other opportunities where they can get information and just learn about this farming?
The Ministry of Agriculture, there are programs. They have extension officers that handles those programs. But of course, I know implementation of these policies by the government, I think that's where we are lacking implementation. The policies are there to support farmers, rural areas, but the implementation itself. If you look at how they advertise, publish how many health workers they are going to employ, how many teachers they are going to employ. It's rare you find an advert talking about how they are going to employ extension officers.
And do you think that's a limiting factor to encourage young people to be involved in farming, because they know there's no source of employment away from you establishing your own farm? Exactly.
Because if that's there, there are a lot of people that are venturing into farming, but after that, they need at least some assistance from the government. But the policies are there, the enforcers are there, but we don't usually see this. They have employed 30,000 health workers. You hardly hear they have employed 100 extension officers in agriculture. We have livestock and fisheries. It's all under agriculture. So I think that's one area we should look into as well.
So what recommendation can you give to the government on that?
Well, the recommendation I would give is, let's revisit our tables. Let's align our policies to meet the people on the grassroots, because you'll find that most of these programs, they favor a certain group of people. A young person, I don't think they have access to that, and that's one limiting factor, because the same question you ask, like, where can they get this information? It is the duty of the government to make those programs so that they reach out into these areas and sensitize people. It's not only, why are people running after Mfumbwe gold mining? You understand? But you will never hear to say they are running to this area because the land is fertile. Like we can establish something. Because at the rate at which the population is growing, the food basket has to be there. And we are the ones to provide that food basket.
True. And do you think, looking at the growth of the population, do you think young people that would decide to get into farming now, with the growth of the food basket, provision to the food basket, are the future billionaires that we're going to have?
Not only future billionaires. Mr. Ray, I will tell you one thing. Like I said, I can talk about numbers. I'll give you an example. An hectare of land has a potential of giving you 11 tons
of
maize.
11 tons?
Yes.
1 hectare?
In 1 hectare.
And how much can you make from that 11 tons? tons.
So when you do the math, 11 ton, that is equivalent to around 280 bags.
1 hectare.
Yes. These numbers are not
200 plus 50 kg bags.
Yes, an hectare. So you can imagine how we are missing out as farmers. I'm not giving you this information as fictional stories. It's something that I've experienced, it's something that I'm experiencing. Okay?
You know what, this brings me to, we have a lot of farmers in our communities, people engaged in agriculture. People have 10 hectares of land, 2 hectares of land. But when they plant their maize, they don't get those 200 plus bags from a hectareage. So I'm just looking at how a lack of information in terms of information skills and just understanding of management of maize is hindering people to make the match they are supposed to make from doing agriculture. And how best can we help people in that regard, especially on the part of the government, extension officers, and just on the part of the people themselves that are doing farming? What practical step or investment, intentional investment, can they make to be able to realize that much profits and wealth that they are supposed to realize from the much that they are putting in their land?
Okay, so like I said earlier, being an agronomist, you really need to understand. I'll give you an example. Those that do poultry, that piggery and everything, when they are feeding their animals, they will start with starter. If you look at the composition of the starter, everything, growers and finisher. Exactly. So now, as farmers, we think it's just when you plant. You understand? And then you leave it up to God and the rains to do the rest.
You just apply fertilizer.
Exactly.
The weeds.
Exactly. So now you need to know the population that you are planting in that hectare. It starts from there. Okay. So as a farmer, you need to understand to say, okay, I need to get a 9, because it's rare. Like the highest our smallholder farmers they can go, maybe it is 4 tons. Okay, maybe if you do well, you do a 6 ton. That is below average.
From 1 hectare.
From 1 hectare. You understand? You can go all the way if you try at least to do a 9 or a 10. Okay, so now it comes all the way from the management, because these crops, they have stages. Okay, you plant, how much population do you need for you to get that yield? Okay, seed companies, they will give you an idea. If you want to get a 6 ton, at least plant 40 to 45,000 of your maize population. Okay, so that information is missed, because all they want is something that is germinating. Okay, so I can tell you to say 1 hectare of land can occupy 40 to 45, even 50 to 60,000. Okay, population stand of maize per hectare. Yes. So now from there, that's where you're going to determine how you're going to feed. So if you do a 40 to 45,000, you need to now start figuring out how you're going to feed your crop. Okay, is it you're going to increase on the rate at which you're applying? So the way maize is, when you apply your D compound, okay, and you delay in applying urea or the supplement, which is ammonium sulfate, you will find that your maize will detect that there is insufficient of nitrogen. So it will speak to its own information to say, I'm going to produce a maize, like it needs to live its own generation. That's why you see that, oh, this is F1, it's first generation. So now the first generation has to create the second generation. So you find that if you buy your certified seed, your yields are going to be different if you get your seed from your first generation. Okay. It will drop down. So now your first generation, if you deprive it of the nutrition, it will create something to just sustain itself, to say, I'll create this small cob from what you have fed me. Okay, that's how they speak. So if you miss it from that point, you are depriving now. So now you can again feed it your granule fertilizers, but again, when they are cobbing, when they are producing cobs, they become weak. Your crop becomes weak because its focus is producing that grain. So it will be prone to diseases, fungal, bacterial, insects, because it's at flowering stage and everything. So now you need to start protecting your crop from those diseases. If you miss it, that's where you find when your cobs are formed, and then that the last rains, and then your cobs will start now being affected. Your cobs will start going bad. There will be fungal infections like diplodia and everything. So you need also to understand all that.
You know, I'm just looking at the technical information that you're providing and how insightful it is. So would you, in helping farmers, would you encourage farmers to reach out to specialized, technocrats that are involved in agriculture, like an agronomist like you, to be able to guide and also sensitize? Because I'm also looking at that as an opportunity for you agronomists making a lot of money, because when you explain this to a farmer, for me it makes a lot of sense. I'm just looking at where we've been going wrong for all these years, and the amount of effort that people have been putting in, but they are not getting the match that they're supposed to get from their investment. So would you encourage people to invest a little bit now, or even more, into just reaching out to specialized people like you?
Okay, let me use this figure so that we understand what we're talking about. Let's take, for instance, like I stated, to say someone gets 11 ton per hectare. Okay, and let's use the price for last season, farming season, farming season, which is 2024-2025. There was FRA was selling maize at was buying maize at 330 kwacha per 50 kg. So now 11 tons, you have that is 11,000 kgs. If so many 50 kgs are there, you have 220 50 kg bags at 330. So someone has 72,600 kwacha.
72 pin.
Yes, from 1 hectare.
1,600 from 1 hectare.
From 1 hectare. And you spend way less than 72. I mean, you spend way lesser than 72,000. Maybe just the highest you go.
Let's go and farm.
Okay, that is 72,000 from an hectare. So tell me, are you going to get a 4 tons, which is about maybe 20 bags or 50 kg from an hectare, or you would want to get 220 bags?
72 pin is
72,000. And from 72, I can maybe will spend about maybe 15 or 20,000 to do everything. So you have a surplus of 50,000. Perfect. So you need this information. Go and get.
We need to stop suffering.
Hey, like agriculture. This is maize. This is maize. Now come to soya.
Vegetables.
Vegetables. Like if you talk of soya is more expensive than maize. Soya costs about, is it 11 kwacha per kg? So now if you get a 3 ton in soya per hectare, that's a lot of money, right?
God, what are you saying? What are you telling me?
So there is a lot.
So in short, farmers should invest in technocrats.
They should invest.
extension officers under the Ministry of Agriculture should also do a good job
Yes.
in helping the people, you know, understand what is involved in farming. Because I'm just looking at the management is where the missing link is for
Yes,
people to
from-
make the match that
that
they
we
are
need
supposed
to
to be
get.
making from that.
Look at the rain pattern for this season. It was absolutely wonderful. There was like, no, we didn't have a drought that we experienced last year.
So from what you've said, the projections, the 72 pin, what encouragement can you give to young people?
So the encouragement that I have for us young people is that let's like, we'll lose time, Ray, chasing after politicians, chasing after white collar jobs. Okay, like you can imagine, this is 1 hectare that I projected. The 2026 Toyota Hilux, if you have 5 hectares of this land, you can buy 2 of those. Right?
Oh my God.
In less than a year, just one farming season, you can buy that.
What are you saying, God?
And we are busy chasing after, you know, politicians, these big men, like, why? But we are missing the point. Let's sit down and rehearse together, come together, let's make a plan. Of course, we can create, you know, cooperatives, start sourcing for funds. It will never show up. But we need to have a baseline where we can start from.
And would you encourage young people to start small?
Definitely. Farming, you can't start from there.
Yeah.
Because believe me, like I said, it's a risk you are taking. So if you start from there and then, you know, a certain drought hits you, and then you'll be discouraging people to say there is nothing that is in farming. But start small. You don't need an hectare of land. You can have an acre of land. You can do your horticultural crops. You have cabbage, you have tomato, you have onion. Like, if you talk of onion, Ray, you can make a lot of money from onions. And onions don't need a lot of inputs. No?
Yeah.
They are self-sufficient. You don't even need a lot of capital for you to begin onion farming. So we have this notion of but you are chasing the bag from the wrong like, you are going the wrong direction.
That notion,
Exactly. But there is a bag that is literally waiting for you.
Yeah.
To just take a step.
No, big man, me, I'm very challenged. Very challenged. Very challenged. So in closing, maybe I think there could be some people that would want to get in touch for more information and specialized, you know, insight. Would you be comfortable to share your number so that those that are willing to just get that specialized consultancy, they can reach out to you?
I can be reached on my mobile numbers. For more information on Airtel, it's 0974 67 9768. That is 0974 67 9768. Or on my MTN, which is 0969 01 2037. 0969 01 2037. And we'll be able to help.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tembo, for this insightful, challenging. For me, I've been challenged, honestly. Challenged to the core. I'm just looking at what the community is missing out there and how we are losing so much wealth that would remove a lot of families out of poverty. So we just continue praying for specialists like you to continue being relevant to the agriculture sector, because right now Zambia is so much dependent on agriculture for livelihood and also economic growth. So we just pray that God should continue sustaining you, and you'll be able to encourage most of us young people and a lot of old farmers out there in society to be able to do the right thing and earn the much needed revenue that they have to earn from what they are doing. So thank you so much for coming, Mr. Tembo. We are so blessed by your presence.
The pleasure is all mine, and thank you for having me. I think we'll be interact more on the agriculture. We
So
need
much.
to venture into this.
Yeah, you and me, we need to venture.
Don't worry.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
discuss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're
All right.
welcome, and thank you.
Thank you, Divine Family. I hope you've been blessed and challenged by this episode.